So, 2 months after doing their initial doll reactions, the dolls are finally with me. I had a bit of a delay importing my dolls in, so they're just arriving in bulk right now. But today, Giselle's up first, so let's unbox her and get a closer look.
And before we start, I'm Chaymie and I like to make toy videos here on my channel, so make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell if you would like to stay tuned for more toy video content.
First up, the packaging. The boxes are huge. Like, I've seen people say this online already, but seeing them in person by yourself with your own eyes is a different thing. But I do have to admit, they look really grand and just so beautiful. And finely executed box designs for sure. So basically, they are in this cylinder shape that is made to look like curtains on a stage to fit the dance theme. I do love the printing of the foil patterning on the logo and the text, and of course, the art by Stephen Thompson is gorgeously displayed for each character. There is 2 little pieces of ribbon at the bottom of the box for you to slide open the curtain, so to say, and it does have a little magnet near the base so that they shut closed. It's a very uniquely, intricately, and creatively crafted box for sure. It has a lot of components to make this mechanism work. As you can see on the top, you have the main pillar, or that little plastic piece that's holding all the things together. Now, the plastic window itself is a flimsy, thin plastic, but I get the point, is you have to actually maneuver it out of this mechanism of a box so that it makes sense to be flimsy. But it does have some warble effects on it, which kind of makes them look like underwater, so it would fit perfectly for Ariel. But I've seen them worse online, but in person for my particular doll, I don't think it's that bad. I don't notice it a lot. On the bottom of the box, you just get all the information that you would normally get on the back of the box, and they are quite hefty, for sure. They're quite heavy, mostly because of that entirely plastic base. And here is a look at Giselle with her curtains opened and her plastic window removed. And with or without the plastic on, it does make a really beautiful display piece. I'm glad that they designed it in a way where we can display the doll inside the box without having an outer piece or an extra piece that we have to store elsewhere. You can still open it, keep it one piece, and display the doll beautifully. And she is very nicely displayed in the box. So the way to start taking her out is first unlodge that little cardboard piece on the top of the box from that little circly thing. So you just push it behind a little bit, unlodge it, and the top part is free. Then there are 2 little prongs of cardboard attached to the bottom part, so the easiest way is to just take the top part out. Once it gets slanted, the little prongs just come right off. This is really fun and exciting because it's taken me all the way back to the first designer dolls with the acrylic cases, and I remember trying to figure out how to take them out as well back then. So this is how the box looks like without her in it. So you got a strong cardboard pillar to keep everything in balance, and then you just have the plastic stair base. I am so glad that the doll stands are not fixated to the part of the box like the old ones. Enough talking, now's the time to take her out of the box, so cue the unboxing montage. And she's out of the box. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. I can't wait to get into the details. But first, let's take a look at our certificate of authenticity. So mine is number 3,385 out of 3,500. I always appreciate a nice gold foil printing on the borders and the text, so it's very shiny, very pretty. And here is a 360 overview of Giselle before we get into the details. So I made sure to show off her tights as well as her shoes, because I have to say they would be my favorite part of detail on her. Getting into the details, so first thing I do have to say, her neck is actually very loose, especially because of her metal halo headpiece. So she kind of likes to tilt her head up or down with the slightest touch. But it's not too bad, she can still hold her pose. For her face sculpt, she is still using the same head sculpt from that first ever D23 doll that they did of her. So it's pretty exciting for me because I do not have that particular doll. So the doll I have is the D23 Wedding 17-inch doll, which featured a new face sculpt with an open mouth smile. So this is exciting to me as I got a brand new Giselle face sculpt in my collection. It's painted beautifully, it's very striking. You know, I always love a side eye, and I love this particular one because it's a side glancing upwards eye, so I absolutely love the expression that she is giving. Although I still think she doesn't look as close as she could be to her animated counterpart, I still see a lot of Ariel in her. You know, not that I'm complaining. And she also got little pink diamonds as well as little flowers sprinkled throughout her basket handle. Oh, I'm sorry, her halo headpiece tiara. But it is sculpted beautifully. You can see a lot of detail in the sculpting, and it is metal. Then we move on to her beautiful shade of red hair. You know I'm a sucker for redheads again. I love that vibrant shade of red on the animated Ariel, but I always appreciate this more realistic shade of red as well. The styling is very simple. She has a side part, and then her little bang is gelled, and there's also a nicely gelled longer piece that's in the front. And in terms of niceness in the curl, that's about it. The ones in the back are, as usual, it's a hit and miss. Some are still nicely curled for sure, but some are just stringy beans going on in there. And there is product in her hair, and it's crunchy, it's hard, so yeah, it's that kind of gelled hair, which is a shame because that D23 17-inch Giselle doll still had product, but it was so soft and so bouncy, the curls. Not to mention, she does have a big bald spot or thinly rooted hair on the back of her head. That is pretty much the same issue with every single Giselle that I have seen so far. And I do understand the reasoning, because if you root it the entire head, the hair is going to be super thick and unnaturally poofy. So I get that take. So I think a simple wash and just brushing out the roots will do. Right now it's just like very noticeably parted because of the way it was packaged in. And now we move on to her dress. So her dress is a two-piece outfit. So she has her top and the skirt part, which both attaches with Velcro separately on the back. I have to say, I really love the take of her dress on this doll. It's that balance between looking very simplistic in nature, yet looks really detailed. And her little shoulder pieces have the butterflies and they loop around on the back of her dress. I kind of wish it would have been floor length and just flowing behind her. That would have been really beautiful. But the butterflies are also one of my favorite things on this doll. I don't know, I never associated Giselle with butterflies, but if you think of it, even her wedding dress featured lots of butterflies, so yeah. And I really love this very structural looking part of her top, where it has the dart lines running through and that little hip angle down. It just reminds me of Aurora's little hip area in her dress. And of course, she also has her iconic little ribbon in the middle of her bodice. And behold, more ribbons, and I do have to say those fabric roses have to be one of the prettiest I have ever seen on a doll. Before I get into the details of her dress, just look at how wide it can go. She has a lot of fabric. And speaking of fabric, it feels so soft in your hands. I think it's one of those fancy satin. It's not as flowy as I would want it to be, but it does do a pretty good job for sure. And one of my other favorite parts on this doll is also how structurally angular it looks, especially these folds and these pleats in front, because I have seen dolls where they're kind of lopsided. Mine is also not perfect either. I think it's going to be very hard to get like a really perfect symmetry on these dolls, but I think mine is pretty close and I just love it so much. And they are adorned with gold embroideries, few gems sprinkled throughout and more little butterflies. So I love that simplistic take on it because the shape of the dress is already interesting in that regard. So they didn't over embellish with more things, kept it simple. I really love that. And I also really love the way the embroidery just kind of flows and fades out towards the end of her dress. And I love that even on those folds and pleats, the embroideries themselves are not identical on each side, which really sells the lore that, it's her and her animal friends just sewing things in her little cottage. Makes so much sense lore-wise. Now we have the other part of her train where there is no embroidery. So in reality, I know they probably run out of budget or costing issues that just left it that way it is. But in my head, I'm making it lore-wise again. The animals probably got tired or they just ran out of silk threads from the silkworms. And before we get to the shoes, I also want to show you how far the train drags along her. And if you pull it all the way to the back, it does have a nice length. Pretty long. Alright, now the shoes. Ever since I saw the artwork by Stephen Thompson, I was just like, I need to see the shoes of this doll in person. Like the shoes, the butterflies. Oh my god, just look at it. It's giving me absolute fairytopia fantasy. Like, if I had the money to get an extra, I would go onto eBay, get an extra, and give one of those shoes to my Alina doll. It's this really nude kind of peachy color to make it look seamless as she is wearing it. And it's painted with iridescent pink so that it gives off so many different colors depending on how you move it under the light. Just look at that. Just look how pretty that sculpting work is. That even has that, I don't know what to call it, the little antenna of the butterfly. And then, of course, we have her tights. And I do have to say, this is one of the best tights that they have done on a Disney Store doll. It's fishnets. Usually it's either kind of very loose so that you can take it on and off easily. But this looks like you can still take them on and off easily, but still enough that they're skin tight on them. It doesn't leave much room to look loose and baggy. And the embroideries and even the gems on the tights. Oh my god, come on! Plus, new sculpted feet. That's a win. Speaking of body sculpts, I do believe they are debuting a brand new leg sculpt as well. It's not double jointed, it's ball jointed, but they still move really, really nicely. Their legs do not spread out anymore when you try to make them sit down, for sure. And on that note, another new body part sculpt that they introduced is her left hand. I just love that sculpt so much, and I just love this really teeny tiny detail. Her thumbs are tucked in, like a dancer or a ballerina would. So I really love that tiny detail. I only know about that because I was watching a documentary on belly dancing, and ballerinas would always tuck their thumbs in so that their hands would look more seamless and longer. So I just love that really teeny tiny detail, Other than that, the rest of her articulation is she moves at the head, shoulders, elbows, wrists, and also a waist joint. So it's always a plus to get a waist joint. Much better posability in photos. I also just want to mention how nice the boxes are. You can display her in them in many ways because you can now play around with the posing of the train, the dresses, and all of that. If only I had the place to display them in a box. So unfortunately, I cannot. She will have to stand by herself in front of my giant 17-inch Giselle. Alright, so going into my final thoughts, this doll for me, it ticks all the boxes, like 10 out of 10. I don't have major notes on her. I love her design. I love the way they struck that balance between making it look interesting and detailed, yet retaining that simplicity of the character. She is very streamlined and very simple in her design in the movie, and I love that they retained that. I love the embellishments that they chose to add in. I love that they know where to put details and they know where to leave it simple. So I just really love that execution of Giselle's particular dress on this form. I know I'm a sucker for movie accuracy, so in terms of silhouette, shape, and design, I should lean more towards the first D23 designer Giselle that they did. But for me, I'm not saying it's because I don't have that D23 one, okay? But I would say I love this one more. I love the execution and the take on this particular doll. I only have 3 notes to give on this doll. So number 1 being, I really wish they would have been able to execute that more of a halo effect on her headpiece, where the ring is more on the angle at the back of her head instead of being directly on top of it like a basket handle. And number 2, even though I made up that lore to justify it in my head for the lack of embroideries on the other side of her train, I still think they should have added it in. It does look a little bit off. And number 3, as you can see, if I had to choose between displaying a doll in their boxes or out of, even if I debox the doll, I love to display them back in their boxes, because for me, the designer dolls or the Ellies, the boxes complete them. Because the boxes, designs, their names, their anniversary logos, whatever, that completes the doll for me. So having this really giant yet beautifully designed box is not very practical. They are really huge. Like, they take up space because they're cylinder and they're round. They even take up more space than the flat rectangular square, boxes. But I guess that last part is more of a me problem for not having a giant room or a giant house. But yeah, those would be my only 3 notes to give on this particular doll. But still, the doll itself is a 10/10. Alright, so that is it for my review and unboxing on the Disney Designer Collection series, Giselle. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Were you able to get her? What do you think of her? Do you prefer this one over the D23 one or vice versa? Sound off in the comments below. And if you're from Australia or New Zealand, she's actually still in stock, even 30% off. Like Aussies and Kiwis, what are you guys doing? Collect her, buy her, add her into your collection for sure. But anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. If you did, thank you so much. Leave a like, subscribe, or share the video. It'll really help out my channel. Once again, thanks so much, and I'll see you all soon in my next video. Esmeralda is coming.